welcome to another episode of Takeover Tuesday. And y'all know that I am your host, and I go by the name of Nobody, always trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody, and that is Jesus the Christ. In the building today, oh man, he really, he really don't even need me to tell y'all who he is, but of course I am going to allow him to do that on today's show before we get into it. And if you can, BK Apologist, bro. Can you come to the mic and let the listening audience know on Paradigm Shift TV who you are, my brother?
Yeah, what's going on, party people, the place to be? I go by the name of the BK Apologist, transmitting all the way live. New York is the city, Brooklyn is the borough. What's good, what's poppin'?
We here. Good, what's poppin', man? As you know, I am a subscriber to your channel, BK Apologist, man, and I listen a lot to you and Adam Coleman, and the Bodega Ladies and Bodega Talk. Just overall, y'all be covering all the main topics that seem to hit. Y'all cover all the debates and do reviews and breakdowns. And for anybody who don't know the channel, y'all go check out that channel. It's a good channel to learn from. But before we get into all that, man, I just want to ask you a couple of questions, man, and just to let the listening audience get familiar with who you are, those who may not know you and things like that. Is that okay?
Sure, let's get it.
All right. Knowing that you do all the work that I've seen you do in these YouTube streets, I just want to ask, were you raised Christian? Or was it some somewhere else and then came back, or was it, just like the rest of us raised in the Christian household?
It's funny, right? Some stereotypes have some truth in them. Me being Puerto Rican, you either grow up Pentecostal or you're Catholic, right? So I was brought up Catholic. So I did my confirmation, my communion, I did all that stuff, growing up, but it was more of a cultural thing than anything else, but I definitely learned some of the essentials from that time, about what the Bible is, the importance of Christ and his sacrifice, Now I do definitely now have some serious disagreements with the theology, but it definitely, that's where I got introduced to, Christianity itself.
So when you say raised Catholic, was it like the Roman Catholic were like following the Pope and Eastern Orthodox?
I was a kid, right? So I don't remember them talking about the Pope. I remember, I remember every Sunday, you got to kneel, stand. Like I hated that. And and you go get your wafer and your thing from the guy in the front. I went because my parents told me to go. It wasn't something I was really into. This is what I do, Sunday I had to do it, or I get a beating. So it's like I'm a kid, you know what I mean? So
so what made you like around by what age did you start like not following Catholicism and start picking up like
the minute my parents stop making me go, I stopped going because I just it was cool. There were some things about it that was cool, but it wasn't my thing at all. To keep it 100 with you. So once I did my confirmation, for those who don't know what those are, your first communion is the first time you have the bread and wine, right? And then confirmation it's kind of like the Catholic version of a bar mitzvah, right? It's because they christen you when you're 8 days old in the Catholic faith. The confirmation is now that you are an adult, you're saying that thing they did that you don't remember because you was a kid, you now agree with that, right? That's confirmation. So I did all that, and I checked all the boxes, and once my parents left me alone, I stopped going.
So did you go so did you leave that and go straight to Christianity, or was you like
I never stopped believing. I still believed in the Bible, believed in Jesus. I wasn't following it, but I would be considered by the world standards. I was a good kid. I went to school. I didn't start no trouble. I wasn't like, smashing a bunch of different chicks. Like I wasn't doing I was the proverbial nice guy, but I wasn't following Jesus though. I really wasn't. I believed in him. If you would have asked me back then if I was a Christian, I probably would have said yeah. But that's more of a cultural Christian.
Right. No, no, and I totally understand that. It's same as me, you know. I grew up, of course, people in my family owned churches, so you know, you went to church because you had to, you know. And like you said, if anybody was to ask us back then, I would have said yeah. But knowing everything that I know now,
right,
I couldn't even tell you what the essentials was back then. I didn't know nothing about nothing. Right. But knowing what I know now, I was pretty much just a person who went to church, you know, or a person who grew up in a Christian household, not necessarily a person who had given his life to Christ and knowing things the proper way and stuff like that. So I feel you on it. So you never became like the prodigal son in the sense of where you actually walked away from the faith at no point in time.
I mean, I it's funny. I never thought about it as walking away. It's more like a fade. I faded, I guess. But in my mind, I never thought that was the case until, you know, much later on. Then looking back, I'm like, yeah, I wasn't really living the life. But at that moment, I didn't think, you know, it wasn't like I made a decision. I am now walking from God. Like, nah, I just didn't want to go to church on Sundays anymore.
Well, I was asking, like, in a sense of, like, me, for example, I walked away from Christianity to the point to where, you know, I started, you know, following Hebrew doctrine.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I never dabbled in any other worldviews at all.
Never. Okay, that's great. Well, I can skip the next question I was going to ask. So, okay, so coming from a person who, like myself, grew up in a Christian household, considered themselves believer in Christ even without knowing the essentials and everything else, and then learning everything to the point to where you're at now, because I've seen you give like lectures, and of course I've seen you teach and things like that. So how did you go from that to Christian apologetics?
I mean, wow.
How did you become the BK Apologist that we know?
Become the BK Apologist? Well, I mean, once I did become, you know, I really, you know, started walking the walk. I just love teaching, you know, and it seemed like it was a gift, you know, and people would tell me that I was really good at it. And then eventually, they actually started letting me teach at my church, you know. So Sundays, every once in a while, I would go up and do a message. And at that time, you know, I'm really into YouTube. I'm watching all the stuff that I'm seeing, and I'm seeing a lot of misinformation, right? So I'm like, you know, I should say something about this stuff. So what I did originally was I just upload my sermons that I would do, you know. So that's how I first started. My first uploads were the messages I would do on Sundays. I wasn't doing any other content except that. Then a couple of years ago, and by doing that, you know, I got to know people like Adam Coleman and Vocab Malone and A.O. Green. Actually, much love to A.O. Green. He's the one that really wanted me to start to have a channel. And so big up to him. But Vocab and Adam and these guys, they came to New York for a conference, a training conference for apologetics. And it was the first time I'm in the same room with Adam and Vocab and all that. And Vocab, you know, was just really just saying, hey, you know, there's nobody in New York that's really doing what you're doing. You know, like you should really start going hard at this because there is no real urban apologist from New York, you know, doing what you're doing. I'm like, oh man, I didn't even realize that. And it was really him. It's really him inspiring me to really, you know, take it up a notch. And so when he said that, I'm like, wow, you know, I need to use New York as a backdrop to what I do. You know, and I'm born and raised Brooklyn. You know what I mean? And born, raised, born again, the whole spiel in Brooklyn. And I'm doing apologetics, so I'm like, okay, so BK Apologist.
Right.
And it was during that summer when they came down and we just talking that they really inspired me to really, you know, create that particular. I had those videos on another channel I had, and I was just loading up stuff, whatever. But there wasn't no real plan. But when I told the Vocab and Adam, I'm like, you know what? Let me get serious. Let me make a brand new channel just for this, and I became the BK Apologist.
That's good because see, I've had my channel for like 3 years as well, and I've kind of been procrastinating. You know, I load some here and there and drop some here and there. But so were you outside of Vocab Malone and Jerome Gay and the people that?
Hello? Can hear you. Hello? Nobody? Hello. All right. So I see my hello, Bianchi.
I think my brother might have dropped off. You there, bro?
I'm right here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Sir. Go ahead.
Okay, my bad. Okay, my bad. I thought y'all could hear me.
No.
I was asking, well, you somewhat like myself, as in, I used to watch a lot of Sarnetta videos, and like years ago, and I used to, just hear people from the conscious community and like Hebrew Israelites going back and forward. And I used to just hear how, Christians used to get trashed a lot. The doctrine used to get twisted a lot. And I really couldn't, at that time, I really didn't find anybody on YouTube that was pretty much addressing this stuff from a Christian worldview. So did you happen to catch any of that stuff at that time? And did that kind of influence you to also do what you do as well? Because, I see a lot of videos with you doing, responses to people like Young Pharaoh and Shaka Utmost and Polites and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like found that stuff, by accident. I was looking for some other things. You know how YouTube will recommend videos for you to watch. And I started seeing these videos about, Jesus didn't exist and this, that, and the other. I'm like, what in the world? So I started watching these things. And I also started seeing people take these clips and put it on their Facebook feeds and their Twitter feeds. And, these guys would quote Polite. They would quote Farrell. They would quote Professor Smalls. You know what I mean? And these were the videos that were shaking people's faith. Even people in my church, they would see certain things and it would shake their faith. And it's like, okay, we need to have something to defend. Our white Christians, our white brothers and sisters, it's not that they don't care. It's that this doesn't show up at their front porch.
Right.
This type of stuff is targeted to Black and brown people. So we need an apologetic for these things. And I just saw a need. And I did meet other people like Vocab, like Adam Coleman, and they were doing it. And I would be behind the scenes. And I would actually there'll be other people, and I would feed them information. Like, well, yo, cite this source, do this, do that. And these people is like, man, why don't you cite the sources yourself? Don't feed other people. Like, you do it. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But so we're very prolific in their content. They're always making content. They have a high subscriber rate, and they have the ear of the people. So it's like, what, we need to establish an apologetic against these things. And and I found a community that was pretty much already doing it. And I've been lucky enough that they extend the hand of friendship to me. Because Vocab has been put in that work. Adam Coleman's been putting that work. Mason, Jerome Gay, these guys been doing it, So when I started doing it, the fact that they brought me in, I'm 100% grateful for that. And I'm just so happy to be part of the UA community. So
shout out to brother Vocab Malone, who came and graced us with his presence on the last Takeover Tuesday. I'll be looking forward to upcoming shows with him as well. Like me, when I got sucked out of believing in the Bible, I had ran into Dr. Ray Higgins online, and I started listening to some of his stuff, and I don't want to say I became an atheist. I really became a person who I still believe that there was a God. I just didn't know who that God was. So I was like, well, hey, I'm just gonna do right, as in not, don't steal and don't lie and stuff like that. And whoever God is, he ain't gonna be mad at me at the end of it all, And then the first person I found online who was talking about it was Brother Berean, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with him.
Oh yeah.
Some of his early videos, where he was just going in on the conscious community, and I started listening to him, and I reached out to him on YouTube, and I reached out to him on Facebook, and we started talking on Messenger and stuff like that, and and he just started giving me information and things like that, and it kind of it had inspired me to start my channel, and I was watching people like What Do You Mean, and Jude 3 Project, and things like that, and that's where I found like people like Damian Richardson and linking them back to you and Vocab Malone and people like that just over the years. And you probably remember this because this where I met you at. We started out on like Facebook, you know, and inside those groups where we would attack the memes and, you know, all the Jesus horrors and all that stuff.
Right.
And I ended up meeting you and Nelfanity and just everybody who I know now that comes on the channel, Jerome, my co-host on Trust and Believe the Gospel, and everybody. And it kind of just blew up, you know, and that's what kind of influenced me to do what I do on my channel. So as for you, even though you probably covered most of this, but as pertaining to you doing what you do on your channel itself, after you became an apologist and met the people that you met, the type of content that you put on your channel, what would you say inspired you to make that type of content rather than a content, let's say like a, you know, you got brothers out there who only teach the Bible as if it was in church on Sunday, you know, yes. So why didn't you go in that direction and chose the direction that you went in?
Well, I mean, I think what's important is to be able to articulate your faith in a way that people can gravitate to, right? And since I am what's, you know, a urban apologist, you know, what I do is, you know, I try to convey the faith to a very specific demographic, you know, the inner city, you know, whether it's Chicago, Crenshaw, Fifth Ward, or Brooklyn, you know what I mean? So I have to, you know, contextualize it in a manner in which they can absorb it, you know? So, and it's not like me trying to do that. That's me because I'm from that environment as well. So, you know, so I'll use a lot of slang. You know, if you see my thumbnails, I'll use like a 90s hip hop reference. You know, I'll put Ghostface Killer on my thumbnail. You know, I'll put EPMD. You know, because that's me. That's who I'm. That's what, you know. That's what I grew up on. So, and I feel like, you know, those are the people I want to reach. So if I'm going to reach those people, I have to do it in that manner, which is just natural for me because that's who I am. You know, so I'm reaching out to other like-minded people. And to meet a need because, you know, they might not hear it done this way when they go to church on Sunday. You know what I mean? So when they hear me, it's like, you know what? Okay, this reverberates with me. This resonates with me because he's saying it in a way that I can understand because it's part of my culture. You know what I mean? So,
do you ever get any backlash from what they would call the churchy people about you know the way you
listen? I fight on multiple fronts, you know what I mean? Because you got the people who are not believers who come at me, and I do have believers who come at me. So depending on who you ask, I'm either Malcolm X or I'm a coon, right? Depending on who you ask. I don't know how I could be both, but I'm either some kind of radical black supremacist or I'm a sellout.
Definitely, no, it's like you can't win for losing.
Can't win, man.
Because I get it as well too. As you may know, I come from the, you know, the hip hop background and stuff like that. You know, used to make music for the world and all that. And just like such as yourself, you know, I try to express my beliefs in Christ and the information that I know based off of who I am. You know, and I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. You know, I'm not trying to be a person who's out here faking the funk because listening to the people that we listen to in the conscious community, y'all say that the preachers they lying to y'all and they not being real with y'all and things like that. But then you meet brothers like us who can articulate what we believe on your level, and then it's still like, well, hey, you're not acting like a preacher, or you're not acting like a pastor or a man, a God of head of church, and it's like why, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel you on that, man. Like,
I mean, that's why we have, you know, I created the whole Bodega Bible Talk on Fridays. Right, because, you know, in the hood, that's where you congregate. You know, that's church for most of us. It's the block, it's the barbershop. That's where we go and get the new information and find out who did what with whom. You know what I mean? So I figured, let me use that concept, and instead of just talking nonsense or spilling tea, we could talk about, you know, the world at large, but through the lens of the biblical worldview. So again, right? So that it's a familiar concept for those who are on the block. Everybody hangs in the bodegas on Friday night, right? So I just use that as a vehicle to have these type of discussions.
And y'all be having some good conversations over there too, man. Y'all be getting into some stuff I don't really know a lot about, like Star Wars and, and all that other stuff.
Yeah, we're nerds. We're nerds over there too. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I consider myself a nerd, but yeah, y'all be getting me on the Harry Potters, and I be like, okay, they lost me right there, man.
Man.
I be trying to keep up with y'all on that, man. But now I love it, man. I love what you're doing. I love the people that you're connected to. Everybody, well, as you know from the chats that me and you are a part of, everybody who I know you, and they listen to you, and you know they get educated by a lot of the stuff that you say. So I know that you follow a lot of debates, and you know that you cover a lot of debates. Are we, or why haven't we saw you in the ring with nobody yet?
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't know if that's my thing, you know. I mean, I've been able to be behind the scenes and help, you know, and be part of certain research teams for debates. I don't know if I'm cut out for it, to be honest with you. I really don't know. You know, I don't have, you know, I feel like I'm better behind the scenes helping people getting them prepped for debates as opposed to me debating my, you know, on my own. That being said, doesn't mean that it will never happen, you know. But it just never comes to mind. I never think, you know, let me get in the ring, you know. So, but you know, if well, I will say this. So as you know, I've done a bunch of videos about Young Pharaoh, and the response, they never respond to any of the videos. What they always say is, why don't you debate him? Why don't you debate him? So I'm like, listen, if he ever wants to debate me, cool, we could do it. If you know him, you could set that up. So if he ever wants to debate, I'm down. You know what I mean? I'm not a debate person, but for him, I'll come to the ring for him. If that ever happens. So I'm putting it out there right now. So if he ever wants to, because I said it on my channel, I said it in my comment section. So I'm going to back up what I'm saying. It's like, if ever a time this dude ever want to sit down and have a conversation with me, I'm ready for that. So, but outside of that, I'm not really a debater. So. Hello. All right, so we lost Mr. Nobody. Big up to the people in the chat. We got Nate2D2. What up? What up? We got Apologist in Detroit. Mr. Phil Fox in the building.
Yeah, we lost, bro. So we'll wait till he get back on. But
it's all good.
In the meantime, so outside of Young Pharaoh, I know our brother Shaka Amos has taken some issues with some things.
You think?
Would you consider jumping in the ring with him? Let me preface it with this: if he could temper himself, so to speak.
Well, it's not even just tempering himself. It's what are you going to put on the table? Because he doesn't want to put nothing on the table. You know, that's what Adam means when he said skin in the game. It wasn't that Adam was scared to put skin in the game. It's that we want you to put skin in the game. You know what I mean? It's like, what's your worldview? He would never tell anyone his worldview. You know? Which is fine, right? Because I can't force anyone to talk about what they don't want to talk about. But then we can't debate.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And just so since we brought this up, right? So nobody was bothering Shaka. So I don't know if you guys know how this all came down, right? Nobody was bothering this dude. This dude decided that he's going to do a whole series on the urban apologetic community. And the series was going to be called Urban Apologists and the Lies That They Tell. I never made a video prior to this. All right. So he decided he's going to come at the whole fam. Cool. He does the intro for the series. Adam already wants to come get him. I'm like, chill, let him rock. Let him get one episode off. Right? He gets the one episode. Me and Adam come. There's so much stuff that we have to refute. It takes 2 videos. He's never responded from that. It's been almost a year. And the series hasn't continued. So, but nobody in the UOA was mentioning him. He decided that he wanted. I'm like, all right, cool. We're going to address you though, you know? And of course, you know, we've been going back and forth recently. And it came to a point where I'm like, listen, man, how about we just sit down and talk? Because he's back in New York now. So my last video that I did is like, listen, man, you have some serious issues about my belief. Cool. We're both in New York. Let's meet, have a cup of coffee, and let's talk. You know what I mean? Because like I don't hate you. You know what I mean? It's like I do this because I want people to be, right with God. So and then he just lost his mind because I said, let's have coffee. You know what I mean? So it's like, it is what it is.
Well, let me ask you this, because so I don't know what, I know Shaka represents Kemet in a similar vein, I guess, to the way I do, whereas I focus more on history and culture, and I teach aspects of what I believe and what I've been taught and what my research has shown me, elements of the spiritual system was. But that doesn't hinder me from being able to build with a brother like you. Clearly, you on my platform.
Right.
And it didn't hinder you from giving me great advice on how to navigate these YouTube streets and things in life, period. And it doesn't hinder me from building with other Christian brothers and sisters.
Right.
Why do you think it's because, like I say, we black and brown people trying to navigate through a world that clearly has obstacles in front of us.
Right.
Our different ideologies aside, I start my show off by saying, if you black, I'm with you, and I hope you with me. Our different ideologies shouldn't keep us from uniting. We can have unity without uniformity, etc. Why do you think it's so hard for some people in the conscious community or the quote unquote conscious community to have unity with Christians? Because I see it with 5%ers, I see it with Muslims, but with Christians, with y'all, for some reason, it's an issue.
Well, I mean, I don't want to make any sweeping generalizations because I don't know every person within that community, right? And not everybody in that community is hostile. I mean, like, case in point, you, right? Okay. So, for those who are disseminating certain types of information, I believe a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. Hey, what's up, nobody? Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yep.
I feel like many of yeah. Hello? You good? Okay. I believe
go ahead, BK. Go ahead.
All right. I believe that many of them are just very disingenuous, and they attack Christianity because it brings notoriety to their platform. It's easy to really critique, especially since there are a lot of bad examples of Christians to choose from, right? So it's like there's a lot of low-hanging fruit. So they critique and bang on Christianity, and the people who like that gravitate towards these individuals. So what's happened is they've created a cottage industry of banging on Christianity as opposed to even teaching what they believe. Right, like you said, Bianchi, you teach what you believe. A lot of these guys really don't. They point fingers all the time, but you never see them actually defend or articulate their worldview, and they don't want to because this is how they create their platforms. Not all, obviously, but some. This is what they do. So when we come and say, "Okay, great. Can we ask you some questions?" It always ends up being a fight because if we are able to refute what they are saying about us, they lose their viewership, and they can't afford to do that. That's for some, not all. There's a lot of genuine people in the community, but just like in Christianity, there's a lot of weirdos in Christianity too, right? So,
and that's
I've noticed, like you've noticed as well, based off what you just spoke on. It seems like everybody is willing to have a discussion or a debate as long as we are on the defense as pertaining to defending Christianity.
Right.
But when we turn the table and ask, well, I'm just speaking from my personal experience. Outside of Brother Bianchi, the majority of people who I've asked to come on the show or to have a debate or just a dialogue or discussion just to defend their worldview, they're never willing to come on. I haven't met one. You know what I'm saying? And it's just funny that it's like that. And for the most part, a lot of the ones that I meet, they really don't know what they believe. They just know that they are against the Bible.
Right.
And
but they never have to. They never have to defend. They have no practice. Christians have been defending their belief for the last 2,000 years.
2,000 years.
We're not the first apologists around here. You know what I mean? People have been defending the faith from the beginning. You know?
And BK, and I know you noticed this too, like people will say something about a certain scripture, and while they talking to us, they'll be like, oh, you twisting that scripture, you know, to make it fit your argument. It's like, no, it's been taught this way before you and I was even born. And if I believe in this, if I believe I go to hell for this or that, why would I twist a scripture that I believe in just to win a conversation with you that's going to be forgotten in the next 5 minutes?
Right,
you know?
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why you think that a lot of non-believers who have that mindset would think that believers like us, when engaging them, that we would twist scripture just to win some kind of conversation or debate with them?
Well, I mean, it's not so much that they think we twist; it's that they come with their own presuppositions, right? And they already have this script in their mind, right? And it's a strong man script, right? I believe a Christian does this. I believe the Christian believes this, that, and the third. Here comes me and you, and we don't fit the script that they've made for us. Like, they project what they think Christianity is on me or you.
Right. True.
And then I'm like, no, I never made claim to that. I don't know what that is. That's not what I represent. You're talking to me. Like, you created this fictional character. Like, don't talk to him. Talk to me. I'm here. I'm in front of you. Talk to me. I'll tell you what I believe. Don't tell me what I believe. I will tell you. Don't just assume and project. You know, I'm not Pastor Porchop out here. You know what I mean? But that's not who I am. You know, so talk to me. Don't talk to a character that you created called Christian. Talk to me. You know, so.
Yeah, that's true. And I find ourselves have to do that a lot and give that disclaimer when we're talking to people. I don't know if you saw the debates I've had with ISUPK's Captain 10K. And when he speak about Christians, they like to paint a broad brush of everybody. You know, since we Christians, we are Eddie Long. You know, we are Robbie
TD
everybody. Right?
We're naming and claiming TBN Christian. Right.
Like just every single thing. We prosperity preachers. We how come you can't pray for a purple elephant to fall out the sky and you climb the hill? But I've never taught that. I don't teach that. You know, I don't. You know, said or whatever. And so I find it a lot more that we do have to give those disclaimers to people and let them know that, you know, just because you came into this with a presupposition on a subject that you never probably had studied out in the first place, and then you meet a person such as yourself, and it just fall apart for them, and now it turns from information to ad hominems. Because, you know, Shaka will cut y'all out in a minute, and y'all ain't said nothing but 1 + 1 is 2.
And he has on multiple occasions. So yeah.
Shout out to Shaka, man. Shout out to Shaka, man. Shout out.
Much love to Shaka.
You know what I'm saying? So what can we expect? What's coming up on BK Apologist, man? What you got coming up in the near future?
You know, I'm working on some different shows, and just it's a combination of, you know, showing how to refute certain things, but also at the same time teaching what the scriptures say and to edify people with the word of God, because there's life after apologetics, right? And you can have the greatest, you know, defense for the gospel. And let's say you persuade an individual and they said, okay, I want to be a Christian. What happens next? You know, like we're not here to just win arguments. You know, we're here to save souls and have people be part of our family. Right. You know what I mean? And then that's when the work really begins. The idea of, you know, this is, you know, the Bible is inspired. Let me break down the Trinity. Let me show you this great argument for the existence of God. That's good. We need to do all that. Right. But then what? Right. You know, so we have to talk about living this out. It's not enough for you to have sound doctrine. You know what I mean? You have to have the life that goes with it. That's why Paul tells Timothy to watch your life and doctrine closely.
Right.
Right. So I'm not here to win points and be like, yay, I beat this guy in my intellectual prowess. I'm such an amazing individual. No, I want the people who I refute, I want them to be my brothers and sisters.
Amen.
I want them to be part of the crew. I really do. That's what we're doing. I want you to have what I have. I want you to have the peace that I have.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, so it's not me bullying or bogarting this individual. Like, no, I want you to have what we have. I want you to be my friend. I want us to be brothers. I want us to, I want you to be my sister. That's the end game. That's the end game. The end game isn't Horus is whack. Ha ha. No. It's Horus is not Jesus. So let's talk about Jesus for real. Let's get to that. For real. And let's get to your life. And how can I serve you to help you be with God?
Well, amen to that. And
you know what I mean? So 100 years from now, no one's going to care if BK Apologist won a debate with Young Pharaoh. No one's going to care if I won a debate with Shaka. What's going to matter is, did BK help people? Did BK love people enough to tell them the truth? Was BK was he their friend? Was he there for them? That's what matters.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
And I like how you put that, because I get a lot of kickback from being over here on Paradigm Shift, but anybody who's a person who watched this channel frequently, they would see all of these brothers who I talk to, debate with. We have a relationship outside of YouTube, and we talk on more than just, on just stuff that y'all see us talk about on this channel. This is just the gateway,
Right.
And I'm actually influential in some of these brothers' lives, as into, teaching them the scriptures or teaching them the gospel or certain subjects that they may have had an issue with and things like that. What we do on here, is just things that we like to do, subjects that we like to talk about and things like that. But as they see, every show I'm on with any brother on this channel, it always ends on a good note. It always ends with a "I love you." It always ends with a "no disrespect." Coming from my end, I could care. Well, I ain't gonna say I could care less, but I'm not really worried about how they feel about me. I just try to make sure that when I'm around, that I'm representing Christ well. A lot of people don't know that I'm a minister in real life, because I don't even portray that. I just go by the name of nobody, because I want you to see me as a brother. Just like how you said, a brother who in the barbershop, talking with you. You know what I'm saying? Shooting a shot with you, just out here chilling. But at the same time, I can be I'm a person that you probably can look up to and be like, well, hey man, this dude, he just as hood as I am, but hey, he not getting in no trouble. He don't have no criminal background. He just as cool, just as fly, but he still believe in Christ, and things like that, and try to take that church hurt away from people who come to me with the aspect of, hey, these people are too judgmental or they're too churchy and I can't be around that type. Well, what about these type of people? What about the BK Apologists? What about the Byron Washingtons, the Jerome Greens, the myself and things like that? So I feel you on that, and try to give people a different outlook for people who believe in the Bible, as well as it ain't just about winning a debate or trying to win a word game with somebody. It's also trying to bring that person back to Christ by way of correcting them in any issues that they may have opposed to the Bible or the worldview or the teaching of.
Right.
Did you want to speak on that a little bit more, or anything else you want to touch on before we get ready to close?
What you said was good. No, I'm good. That was good, bro.
Okay. Man, I appreciate that. We have a couple of people in the chat, man, who was asking you some questions. I probably have to scroll back up to see where they was at. I'm not for sure.
Chris Harris said he loved to ask you some questions.
I know Black Line Supreme had a question for you. If I can find
it.
If you want to touch on anything, just BK, go ahead while I try to find this question.
Like I said, I just came to chop it up with you guys. So as long as people are respectful,
Oh no, they're gonna be respectful over here. Yeah, we don't play that over here. Yeah, none of that. Now for the other brothers, when they be going back and forth, that's one thing. But
look, bro,
Takeover Tuesday, your bro.
Yes,
you be keeping some order.
It's not really that
as well as my big bro,
today,
of course.
So
it wouldn't be no me without him on this channel.
Yeah, I'm not trying to really go back and forth with anybody.
Yeah,
right
we're not even.
Hey, y'all, this is not a going back and forth type of show tonight. You know what I'm saying? But if y'all want to show some love, y'all can to Brother BK. Shout out to everybody that is in the chat. Shout out to everybody who tuned in to check out this interview. So yeah, Brother BK, man, I'm not gonna hold you too long, bro. I really do appreciate you lending your time to me. I know you are a very, very, very busy brother, man. And you know, for my small little platform, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. And you know, showing
I too have a very small platform.
well,
I'm not
well,
the time, bro. This is amateur night over here, fam. Don't.
I mean, hey, it's bigger than mine, man. So it's all love, man. You know what I'm saying? Most churches can't even get, well, most local churches can't even get 20 or 30 people in the door, man. You're getting hundreds of people on your videos every single time you drop one. So hey, you preaching to the choir, man.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Oh yeah, man. Much love.
Hear me, bro?
Yeah, man, just let the people know what they.
Okay.
I can hear you. I don't know if nobody can hear you. I can hear you.
I can't hear him, so I'm gonna just be silent and let him go and ask you the question. Go ahead.
Right, so he can't hear you, bro. He can't hear you.
Gotcha. No, I just wanted to say it's really not that type of show tonight where we're gonna have nobody come in and ask our brother questions. He just came to chop it up with us. So, you know, if he open to doing that type of show another time, that's fine. But right now he just came to chop it up with us. He not really taking questions from the audience. So I just wanted to make that clear. And then I did have a final question for you with regards to your approach to apologetics, with regards to reaching non-believers, particularly for the youth. How do you go about approaching young people who are kind of in that in-between space, you know, where they found Christianity for whatever reason to be dissatisfying? They may be, as we call it, church hurt. Whatever the case may be, they've kind of veered away from they as I call it, that prodigal son state. And they kind of on the cusp of maybe becoming a part of the conscious community or becoming a part of the Israelite community, whatever ideology they sort of veering towards. What's your approach to them? Because that's a very important phase in somebody's life. You know, that 16 to 21 range, you know, that teenager to young adulthood. Do you have a specific strategy for reaching young people?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is you shut up and you listen. You listen to them, you know, because regardless if you agree with their stance or not, you have to listen to see what it is that they have an issue with, right? So you got to listen and then agree where you should agree, and don't be scared to agree. You know, yes, people have used Christianity for some very wicked and vile things. Yes, people have done atrocious things in the name of Christianity. That's facts. You know, people have used white Jesus as a tool. Not everyone, but it has from time to time been used in an oppressive manner. That's facts. You got to agree with that. You know, we can't shy away from, you know, the issues the church has. You got to hit that head on. Because if you don't, they're not going to respect you. Like, oh, you just tap dancing that, right? Another thing is you got to answer the questions. People have some deep theological questions. You know, this whole idea of just trusting the Lord doesn't cut it today. You know, just pray about it doesn't cut it. The youth want answers. I saw this video. This guy said this about Jesus. What do you say? Give me an answer. Don't tell me pray about it or just have faith. You know what I mean? It's like they want an actual answer. Here's their source. Read this book. Think of it this way. You know, they want that. They want that engagement. They don't get that, unfortunately, in where they go. So if they go to the church and their pastor tells them just pray about it, and then here comes Wyckoff Yasharala, right? He has answers for their questions, right? Or so-and-so. It might not be the right answers, but he's going to have answers. He's going to have dialogue with that kid. Meanwhile, the pastor just shoo him away, right? That's the problem. You got to sit down, shut up, listen, right? Agree where you can agree and answer the questions and show them that you're not scared to do that with them. Because then they feel like, oh, he respects what I'm saying. He actually hears what I'm saying. He's helping me out. So the next time I have a question, I can reach out to this guy. You know, so I feel like that's what needs to be done.
That's powerful too.
That's powerful.
So
yeah. All right, I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and wrap it up. I just wanted to get that question in, man. Again, I appreciate you for coming on, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's definitely an honor. So I'll let y'all do y'all thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, BK, man. Hey, again, man, I appreciate you for coming on, man. We appreciate you, man. Like, definitely, bro. If you can let the listening audience know where they can find you at, go and give out your information, man, and anything else you want to say in closing.
Yeah, well, most of the people in the chat know where to reach me, but for those who do not, I'm on these YouTube streets. You can catch me at BK Apologist. The letters BK Apologist on YouTube. Just put that in the search engine, and I'll pop up. And I'm always bringing out content on a weekly basis for the most part. And I hope you learn something. Hope you edify, maybe even be entertained a little bit. And thank you for allowing me to be on this platform. Thank you, Pianki, for doing this. We've been, Facebook inbox friends for a minute now. And,
right.
He's very cool dude, very, very fair individual. He's going to come back to Christ soon. That's the plan. We have an agenda.
Shout out.
We're working on it, right? Nobody. And
amen to that, bro. You already know.
Oh man! But even if he doesn't, we still got mad love for him. We're
gonna love on him.
Yeah, he's been definitely very, very cool dude. So that's why I'm here. This is the first time I've been really on a quote unquote non-Christian really like YouTube channel.
See,
so
and BK, I be trying to tell him.
History.
See, I be trying to tell him, bro. I wouldn't even be over here if it weren't for that. The first time he decided to make me his co-host, I was like, bro, the only reason I come over here because of you. I know a lot of comedics and conscious community dudes who got channels. I don't even go to their platform, but for some reason, when I met him, I can tell that he asks genuine questions. He actually want to know things, or he's actually putting up a real position. A lot of these other people, man, I ain't saying everybody, but the ones I talk to, they're not in it for real, man. They just want to bang on the Bible, and that's why I come on this channel.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Amen.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. I agree to that, man. Well, hey, everybody, man, y'all know that has been BK Apologist. We appreciate him for coming through. I am nobody. I always trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody, and that is Jesus the Christ. This has been Takeover Tuesday on Paradigm Shift TV 314, and we'll catch y'all in the next one, and that's peace.
Peace.